Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some work on this Marshall super spreader. Now this is a fertiliser spreader that holds about 5 tonnes, and Marshall is a company, well, they were made under licence here in Western Australia. Now this one is a super spreader. It's really good for spreading superphosphate and urea and any granulated fertilizer like that. So it's got these chains here in the bottom of the bin, and we'll go up inside and I'll show you inside the bin. It's got this screen in here that stops anything that is too big, any rocks and that sort of thing, getting caught going through the chains. Now, it's got this sloping floor in here, and it's a bit hard to see, but down there, where all those leaves are, is where the chain is. And it's got this cover over the top of it, which stops too much fertiliser sitting down on the chains at any one time. Now it's got this W-shaped bottom in the bin, so the fertiliser is fed down towards the chains, but because it's got this top cap over it, and it's actually underneath here, the bottom chain that feeds the fertiliser out the back, it means that things like lime and manure and anything like that don't get fed through the chains very well. So you can only spread granulated fertiliser with these. Now on this side off the wheel there's a cog, and there should be a chain that comes up to here and then through a set of gears, and this is what drives these chains here to bring the fertiliser out. So whenever you are moving, it starts bringing the fertiliser out. It comes out of the bottom of the bin here, drops down onto the spinners down here, and there's 2 spinners in here that have got vanes on. Now these are run by the PTO on the tractor, and they're spinning quite fast. On this model they both turn, there's 2 of them, one on each side, and they both turn in opposite directions. So it's really important to get this belt on the right way round, or you'll spread all your fertiliser in only on one side. So these are pretty good machines. They're pretty robust, but they are very limited in the fact that they can only spread granulated fertiliser. To spread other things like the lime, we need a multi-spreader. Marshall makes multi-spreaders as well. So this is a Marshall multi-spreader. A bit bigger and a lot newer than my little spreader. Now the main differences between the multi-spreader and the super spreader, if we climb up and have a look in here, instead of having the narrow chains in the middle here and the W-shaped floor, it has a big wide belt, and the whole floor moves to help draw the fertiliser or lime back to the spinners. So these will spread things with much bigger lumps in. They'll spread things that don't flow, like lime. Lime tends not to run in the spreader very well. So and the other differences, if we come around the back, there's a much bigger door. This whole panel here opens up. I don't think I can open it one-handed, but this whole panel here opens up, and this is your adjustment on how much you're putting out per hectare. This one also has very large spinners with quite big fins on it, so that you can put quite a high volume per hectare out. And then because it's coming out all the way across the belt here, this whole belt turns to draw the material out, falls onto this V-shaped part here and down onto the spinners before it gets thrown out across the paddock. And these will spread pretty much anything. So our job for this weekend is to start to turn this super spreader into a multi-spreader so that we can spread lime and chicken manure and a few other things with it this year. So the first thing we're going to do is lift the tank off. There's not much holding it on. There's three bolts down either side, and then the whole tank will just lift off. We need to lift it up about 200 millimeters higher up, and I've started making up some brackets to do that already, because we're going to put a bigger shaft in the front here. We're also going to cut the middle of the W section out of the floor and put a flat floor in it. So this is an old shaft and conveyor chains out of another Marshall spreader. So once we've lifted the box on mine up and cut the bottom out, we're going to be able to mount this shaft with the drives for this chain, and have this chain as a conveyor to help pull the material through back to the spreaders. Now, in that other one I showed you, there was that rubber belting over the top of this, and there's actually nothing underneath the conveyor belt on that other one. On this one, I'm going to put a plywood floor in, and I'm just going to use these slats to pull it through. So it's more like some of the manure spreaders than a proper multi-spreader, and I think that's going to work plenty well enough for what I want to spread with this. So I'm going to go and take the bin off now, and we'll get to work having a look at how we can modify the bottom of the bin. So we've got our spreader sitting upside down now, and I've made up a bundle of these pieces. We're going to sit them in there like that with a couple of bolts through here, and we're going to weld a bar across, and then this piece here will bolt onto the chassis that we've lifted the spreader off. So this will support the bin up a little bit higher, So the next job is to weld a couple of these on and start making up these bars. We're going to have 4 of them that sit along the length of this. And once we've done that, we'll cut this bit out along here, cut the W section out, and we can start working out where our new floor is going to go. Now that we've got the bottom cut out here, we can see a little bit better how this chain system works. Now remember, it's upside down here, so this is normally the bottom of the machine, and this chain normally sits up against it. The fertiliser can flow down between here and down this side of it as well, and then the chain pulls it out here, drops it onto the spinners, and then there's the gear that drives it in here, and it returns back through this tube here. Now this tube here also acts to stop the full weight of the fertiliser sitting on this chain, so it's only pulling a small amount through. So we've got the bin sitting back on the chassis now. We've got the bottom cut out of it, ready to put the new plywood flooring in. I haven't actually bolted it down to the chassis. I was running out of time last night. We'll get stuck back into this next weekend and hopefully get a fair bit further with it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little video, and I hope to see you again next time. Thanks, bye.